What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Good Game Reviews. We'll do another draft review. My apologies. I've missed out on a lot of news, a lot of mock drafts. I can still get in a couple predictions though. We only in the first day. Only thing's gone is the first round. I can still talk about other rounds. I have some thoughts. Instead of doing like a traditional mock draft, I'll just go down, like the list of positions to the left that we really have to worry about besides quarterback. I'll just go from like most important to least important and do a list like that instead of like a mock draft for the next 2 to 7 rounds. I'll just do something like that. But yeah, I'm glad I'm doing a video tonight. Uh, as you already know, first round of the draft, 2021 draft is in the books, and there was a lot of, well, I won't say surprising picks. Not so much as the players who went in the first round, but more the places that they went to, because we saw a lot of these mock drafts over the last couple of months, whether it was the quarterback position or wide receivers, or this team is going to take this tackle and this team is going to take this linebacker. There was a lot of different things going on, a lot of different mock drafts and things like that. But besides the first and the second pick, which we already knew was going to be Trevor Lawrence. We already knew that the Jets were going to get Zach Wilson. Those are things that we already knew, and Kyle Pitts was going to land somewhere in the top five. If those are things that you were going to put a bet on, it was a safe bet. But I'd start with probably like the biggest surprise, which was the fifth overall pick with Jamar Chase. Now we heard words, about them possibly targeting Jamar Chase because that's who Joe Burrow played with. That was his best receiver in LSU, and it would make sense for him to say, "Hey, I want this guy." And because teams want to do a better job of listening to their quarterback's needs, then it'll be like, okay, fine, let's go ahead and draft Chase. But I thought that the best move would have been for them to go tackle. I thought that would have been the best move. I thought that was the obvious move, that they would go Penei Sewell. But no, they went Jamar Chase. And I mean, hey, it works out. You get Joe Burrow another weapon to work with. The days of AJ Green, they're pretty much already gone. You need like a true number one guy, and I think Jamar Chase definitely gives you that. Any team that he would have went to, he probably would have been a number one. He probably would have been the number one wide receiver for that team. But going to the Bengals, he's definitely going to be the number one over there, and this just gives him more options to throw to. Now the bad side about that is, yes, we all thought Penei Sewell was going to go there because that was a big weakness there, and that was the reason why Joe Burrow didn't get to finish his first season, was because he got hurt, because he had a faulty O-line, and it ended up costing him the season. So will they look at that and kind of regret that decision? Hey, there's still 6 more rounds to go. So hey, I mean that was like the biggest surprise to me. Dolphins being able to go on wide receiver, I had already expected that. They didn't get the guy that they possibly wanted, but I had pretty much expected them to go wide receiver. Panthers going cornerback, not too much of a surprise. That was it made sense. Secondary was one of their biggest weaknesses on that team. They have a lot of holes to fill overall, but that was just one of the bigger weaknesses that they had on that team. Not any notable names that they have in that secondary, to be honest. Besides maybe safety, but as far as the cornerbacks go for that team, nothing, no noteworthy names. As far as maybe another surprise, I didn't expect the Giants to trade down. I'm gonna be honest. It made sense though. By the time you get to the Giants, all the wide receivers that they would have wanted pretty much gone. So they just decided, hey, we'll just go a little later and get somebody around this range. So it just made sense for them to trade down in that sense. But before the draft started, I had them, getting that pick at 11. But it's, the board failed. It just didn't seem like they were going to stay there too longer. Bears, they end up getting their quarterback. So I'm going to be honest. Coming into the draft, I wanted Justin Fields. I would have, liked him on the team. But hey, I mean, that's just how it falls. And I had a feeling that Justin Fields wasn't going to fall to 15. It seemed a little bit, too convenient. The quicker we got to 15, I'm looking at the board, and then I look at 10. I look at the Eagles. They end up picking up Devontae Smith. And I'm thinking, oh snap! I mean, the way this is falling. I mean, the Giants don't have a need for quarterback. The Cowboys don't have a need for quarterback. Chargers, Vikings at the time didn't have a need. I was like, hey, this could fall, man. But that trade down happened, so it is what it is. Another like surprise. Well, not so much as a surprise to me, but I didn't really expect him going in the first round. Alex Leatherwood. Now the position makes sense for the Raiders. The position they needed to, replace Trey Brown, who they had lost in the offseason, as far as that tackle spot. And I actually had Alex Wood in like one of my potential mock drafts that I didn't get to put out, but I had him as a tackle that I would have, like the Patriots taken somewhere in the second round, because I thought maybe he would fall to the second round. But I guess they decided to make their move right there. I mean, offensive tackles were kind of falling off that board, so I guess they decided to make the move, and it's a pretty good move, man. It's a pretty good move. Another Alabama guy. A lot of Alabama guys winning this draft. But let's get to the point. Let's get to the pick that is why we're all here, which is the one that I care about. It is the 15 overall pick. Patriots, they select Mac Jones, quarterback out of Alabama. Now, I will say this about Mac Jones. If there is a guy who you would feel comfortable putting out there, as far as, hey, we need you now, I feel the most confident in Mac Jones. Reason why is he is a really good decision maker, and it shows in the numbers. I mean, he only threw four picks, on a 41 touchdown season. Completion percentage 77.4, highest out of all the quarterbacks coming into this draft, out of all the quarterbacks in college actually. If you need somebody to check off a board as far as like accuracy, pocket presence, getting rid of the ball fast, and being able to make those pinpoint throws, I would put Mac Jones in that category. If you're looking for a guy to be mobile or scramble or take off for 50-yard touchdown or 40-yard touchdown, or have like one of those big yard scrambles or something like that, that's not his game. That's not his game. He's not the four quarterbacks that went ahead of him. That's their game. They're the scramblers. They're the runners. They can do that. That's not Mac Jones' game. Mac Jones' game is, I am going to stand in this pocket and I am going to carve you up. And hey, that's something that Patriots fans should be used to anyway. We've seen it for the last 20 something years, at least not for me. Like, I'm only 24, so I've seen it for the last pretty much 12 years. I say is or at least as much as my brain could remember at a young age. I've seen it for a good number of years. That's what we're used to. That's what I'm used to, seeing a quarterback being able to carve you up, not so much as the scrambler that some of these guys who went earlier are. But yeah, I said it on Twitter. This is pretty much a Patriot perfect fit. They were eyeing him. They went to his pro day. They were eyeing him at the Senior Bowl. And you know how Bill Belichick gets down with the Senior Bowl. When it comes to the Senior Bowl, that's pretty much where you're gonna see a lot of guys. If you want to see a guy who the Patriots want to pick, just go and look at some Senior Bowl tape and see who performed, well in the Senior Bowl, and I'll give you a good idea of, oh yeah, this might be somebody that Belichick is targeting, or this might be somebody that Belichick goes ahead and drafts. We saw it last year with Kyle Duggar. I mean, it just makes sense. It makes sense. The pick makes sense, both on the field and off the field. When you hear him talk, he sounds like a Patriot. He just gives like really Patriot answers, and it's not even like he's trying to do it. It's just that's just who he is. So we had seen it in the interviews at the Senior Bowl. We seen it in interviews, after the games, after Alabama games. So I mean, hey, we already knew what we were getting with this guy. Another thing that you could look at as a positive and I think it's really important. A lot of people don't really bring it up, but this is really important. He is used to a winning culture. All right. Not a lot of guys are used to winning, so they don't know how to handle it. And that's very important. You gotta as when it comes to winning, you gotta act like you're used to it. If you're down, you gotta have that mentality that, hey, we're still in this. It could be 5 minutes left in the game. You're down, but you gotta be like, hey, I mean, this is pretty much our game to lose. We can still win this game. And so he's used to coming from a culture of winning. He had it in high school. He had it in college with Alabama. We see, hey, championship game. So this is a guy who is not used. He's not afraid of the big moments. He has thrived in them time and time again. And that's who you want coming to your team. You want somebody with a championship mentality, and that often is going to breed you a championship. So those are my thoughts on it. Like I said earlier, I'm gonna do another video centering around the 2 to 7, kind of like that second round, 7th round, but not so much as like a mock draft. I'm just going to look at individual positions from highest need to the lowest need, and I'll determine based around that little area who I decide can fit in that spot. So as far as like running back goes, I'm probably gonna have that a little bit lower on the list. Or say a position like cornerback where we have to consider the future of Stephon Gilmore and or JC Jackson, and I would have that somewhere higher up on the list because I think that's a move that the Patriots probably want to make quickly. But I'm gonna save that. I'm gonna save that for the other video. But like I always say, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching this video. If you watched the whole thing, if you watched a little bit, thank you anyway. I'm going to start trying to do these a lot more regularly. I've been in a slump like you wouldn't believe. I ain't going to get all, pertinent on here, but yeah, I'm just glad that I'm back here doing videos and making content for the Patriots and just NFL, man. I love the NFL, so I'm glad I'm doing this video. Anyway, like I said, like, comment, subscribe. Until next time, I'm out.